Well, hello again to all of you wonderful people and who you want to be. My name is Sam, and of course, welcome you all to the newest episode of Weird Mind Newsroom, where of course we focus another week of all new media in the realm of new releases, trailers, and news stories from the week of content. So let's waste time on this introduction, so let's get to talking all things media that we have for another week.
Come on, what's going on? Let's get some heads-up hockey!
So in the first of the new releases for this week is bringing us a fine selection in the realm of the project that has been making its presence known around the award season scene, and will be giving us a sense of love and compassion and the birth of a famous writer's work in the form of found on the stage and literature in what inspired it, as it did. We have the release of the new film that's known simply as Hamnet. Now the film will tell the story of William Shakespeare, played by Paul Mescal, and his wife Agnes, played by Jessie Buckley, as they celebrate the birth of their son of Hamnet. However, when tragedy strikes and Hamnet dies at a young age, it will inspire the poet and writer to create and write this timeless masterpiece known as Hamlet. The reception of this film has seen some very strong reception with praise on the performances, especially with the two leads, its cinematography and writing, and seen as one of last year's and this year's best, and seems to be quite the presence at this recent award show ceremonies. If you want to just save the buzz for yourself, then you can catch this new film, also now in cinemas. Our second film for this week is seeing us getting trained up, the strength up, and preparing to get dirty and bloody as we step into the ring for an all-new take on a true story of a famous fighter, as we have the release of the new true story film known as Giant. Now the film is inspired by the real-life true story of Prince Nassim Naz Hamad, a British Yemeni boxer, and his journey from humble beginnings to becoming a world champion, and his training under Brendan Ingle, who played a crucial role in his success. The reception of this film seems to be mixed to modest at best, with praise in the performances and concept of telling this person's story, though the elements of the truth or full perspective may leave a little bit to be desired. But if you want to get in the right and see for yourself, then you can catch this new film also out now in cinemas. Our last film for the week is one in the sense of the first of what I see as some bit of the love in unexpected places or circumstances, but in some form of way that you will find themselves coming together in the end of it all, as we have the first of the films this year to be adapted from novels or love stories, with the first release a new film of The People We Meet on Vacation. Now based on a popular novel from 2021, the film will tell the story of Poppy, played by Emily Bader, and Alex, played by Tom Blythe, two friends from two different parts of the world, where Poppy wants to explore the world while Alex would much prefer to stay home with a good book. While at the close of friends nearly every year for a week, they will end up on the form of a summer vacation together before something caused them to drift apart in their friendship a few years back. But when a wedding in Barcelona for her brother David occurs, she makes the opportunity to make amends and see if it's destined for them to be together after all this time. Reception on this film has seen some well-received reception, with praise on the casting, setting, story, and for being a nice adaptation of the novel. Though the concept of some aspects, if you've seen one love story, you've kind of seen a lot of different things, so there is that as well. But if you want to check it out for yourself, it is available to catch right now on Netflix. Moving to television, and the first of the shows for this week is seeing us heading back into the form of The Ring, but in some a bit more bare-knuckled and in the grisly streets of London back in the dawn of industrial change. So after a bit of a stretch since the original season, Stephen Knight is back once again with the second season of his new acclaimed series of 1,000 Blows. In a new season will see us back into the seedy underbelly of London, and we'll see Hezekiah return as the shadow of a man he once was and set out for revenge, Sugar Goodson hitting rock bottom but looking to seek redemption, and Mary Carr storming back into Wapping with Alice Diamond to rebuild the 40 Elephants. The reception of the second season so far has been very strongly received, with, like the first season, with praise in the performances and continuing narrative against the backdrop of the setting of this whole series. And if you're looking for more of a broad, then you can catch the full 6 episodes of this new season out now on Disney Plus and Hulu. And for our final show for this week, there is a bit of a confusion on the release, as this may have already been released, but going off of the calendar, it seems it only dropped just a few days ago. But it's time for some sports-based action that, even if things may be happening on the cold hard ice, things will be anything but cold, but a lot more steamy, as we have the release of the very popular new show that's known simply as Heated Rivalry. Now, based on the book series of Game Changers, the series follows Shane Hollander, played by Hudson Williams, and Russian Yana Rozanov, played by Connor Story, two professional hockey players who compete on rival teams of Montreal Metros and Boston Raiders. Although their ice rivalry is amplified by media coverage and public perception, the two develop a private, initially casual sexual relationship that continues intermittently over several years to pursue their hockey careers. Now, reception's new series has seen some mass critical acclaim, becoming a massive success in its performances, its chemistry, and story, and becoming a global sensation. With one of the episodes in particular, which I believe is the 5th of the 6 episodes, this is the second highest and best scoring episode on IMDb, which is quite something to say. And if you want to check it out for yourself, you can see what the whole Crave is about. You can catch the full season now on Crave since late November in Canada, but now in Sky in the UK and Ireland, as well as on HBO Max in the US. With all that regards, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week.
Hi, neighbor. I'm glad we're together again.
Our first trailer is that time again. It's another week of trailers, but the focus of the first edition of the week we have once again continued to watch as the clock continues to tick on and counting down to the day of the demise and terror that has been foretold to happen as coming to us from the first time being shown in front of that Blue Man Group as well again in space. We have received the third teaser for the upcoming end-of-year juggernaut of a title with the release of Avengers Doomsday. The film will be set 14 months after the events of Thunderbolts and follow on from Endgame, and consists of different factions including the Avengers led by Sam Wilson and Cap, the Wakandans, the recently arrived Fantastic Four, the new Avengers, and the appearance of the X-Men, and will team up together to face a new powerful threat of Doctor Doom, who looks a little close to a familiar face from the past. So we've had the first one, the confirmation of Steve coming back in some form, maybe as Cap or as Nomad. Then we had the new solo form of Thor, and now this time we got to look at some faces that help to kick off the superhero film genre with some faces of the X-Men, including Charles Xavier, Magneto, and Cyclops, which gives us a sense there's going to be another huge project in the works, and many have agreed in a brief clip of Cyclops in his now comic accurate look that they gave him more of a respectful use and done more than the Fox series ever did 20 years ago. It's nice to see them back. Now, I'm not sure if next week's the last one or there's more planned for the next few weeks, but I guess we will see. But I hear the next one's based on the aspects of the heroes of culture and lineage and stuff from an alternate history, but we'll see if they release them next week as the clock ticks down to the big battle when released in the cinemas from the 18th of December. For the second trailer this week is one that will bring the sense of a strange outcome coming along that was not listed in the job posting. We'll now be seeing a new part of a job to stay alive, as we have sort of an all-out bloody violent action film from the director of It with the trailer for the film of They Will Kill You. Then the film will see a young woman played by Zazie Beetz answer her help wanted dad to be a housekeeper in a mysterious New York City high-rise, not realizing she's entering a community that has seen a number of disappearances over the years and will be down to fight her way to survive from this onslaught of the residents. So the idea of this trailer may give a lot of the film away, but it does have some appeal that I'm sure may work, as it gives the energy of the John Wick style setting and tone, mixed with the bloody ordeal of the original Ready or Not, and just having a lead that has played the form of an action role before it was a lot of luck. But I sense that maybe it could be an appealing popcorn flick and worth a watch, but I guess we can see in due time, as the film will be out in 2 months' time, March 27th. For the first of the trailers for the studio of A24 is giving us a take and perspective of a famous character of history that while we have seen the starting times, its origins, and the appeal of his fame and infamy, this will be more of a grizzled take and one near the end of his life, and reflecting on the choices and how that story will end, as we receive the first trailer for the upcoming film known as The Death of Robin Hood. Now, grappling with his violent past, Robin Hood, this played by Hugh Jackman, finds himself gravely injured after a battle that thought he would be his last. He soon gets a chance at salvation when he meets a mysterious woman played by Jodie Comer and a young girl who take him in and heal his wounds. In the case, we have seen a lot of these narratives in the past of this character, but I like the aesthetic of a more older, mature form of the character that's based on some classic poems or tales, and this idea of seeing the usual fare of the famous bandit, and it gives you a sort of a Northman vibe to me from this trailer, but I'm interested to check it out. Now, there's no set release date for this film as of yet, but the film is set for release this year, so I'm sure we'll probably get an idea of when this drops in due time, when they drop a release date or something. Our next trailer is one thing since a bit of being stuck on an island with the one person that you don't want to be trapped with has its uses, but it comes to a point of how long it will be before you learn to respect them more, or something snaps inside of them and becomes a bit of a fight for survival, which is seen kind of here with the release of the final trailer for the upcoming survival thriller movie of Sent Help. The film follows a woman named Linda, played by Rachel McAdams, who ends up stranded on an island with her overbearing boss, played by Dylan O'Brien, after a plane crash. Soon they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive, but will ultimately become a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. The concept of the stranded on an island is not the most original concept, but it has been a while since we've seen some film or project in that setting that sort of I'm aware of. And given that this film is by the man behind the original Spider-Man trilogy and the Evil Dead films with Sam Raimi, I'm sure there is more to this concept and project. The trailer so far has been decent and one I have seen, so maybe it could be well worth a watch. And it's not too long away either, as the film will be released into cinemas in just under a month's time on February 6th. Our next trailer is seeing some iconic figures and big personalities coming together for all-out action, butting heads, and punching things. Well, I assume anyway, as we have the trailer for a film based or named after a film from the late 60s that's known simply as The Wrecking Crew. Then the film follows two Hart brothers, as played by Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista, a loose cannon cop and a disciplined Navy SEAL who must work together to unravel the conspiracy behind their father's murder in Hawaii. It could be a case that sometimes you can have the films that will make it a mission to be all-out serious, and then you can have ones that are trying not to be a masterpiece but still have their appeal and entertainment value, and I see it as fitting in that latter aspect, as the film has its appeal in being all-out action, some depth of its humor, and some heart mixed in there as well, with its two leads, and I'm not sure I've teamed up in a film yet, but I enjoy their dynamic. I'll be interested in giving this a bit of a watch in due time, and it's not too long away either, as this film will be dropping onto Amazon Prime in 3 weeks' time on January 28th. The last of the A24 films for this week is one that's taken a page out of the realm of horror, but also giving a focused perspective where we've given a lot of seeing things, but this one is more the focus of what we may hear, as he's being confused on what it was, and which is the focus of this new look of a horror, with the release of a trailer for a new film that's otherwise known as Undertone. And the film follows a podcast host that will cover spooky content while moving back home to care for her dying mother. This starts to get unsettling when she is sent recordings of a pregnant couple's paranormal encounters, where she soon realizes her story starts to parallel her own, with each tape played pushing her more towards madness. So the idea is that this seems like a reasonable one, that the likes that focus more on sound than on seeing things has an interesting idea, and the likes of the trailer shown was a little jarring, and I'm a little mixed on, but overall I can see the appeal of it, and it seems to have had a bit of a success with some decent reception back when it was first shown at Film Festival in Canada in July, but maybe it could be an interesting one. And it's not too long away from release either, as the film will be releasing into cinemas in about 2 months' time on March 13th. For one TV trailer for this week is technically a new take on a cult classic film from the late 80s that's not the strongest reception, but will gain a cult following soon after. It's time for a new take on it, where the ideals of a perfect neighborhood may all be a bit of an uncertain or messy outcome, with secrets around every corner and behind every door, as we have the trailer for the new series based on the new take on The Burbs. The new series is based on the original 89 film that will see some old secrets begin to resurface when a newly married couple, played by Keke Palmer and Jack Whitehall, relocate to the suburban neighborhood of the husband's youth, where he begins to suspect the residents are hiding something. The neighbor in the house across the way may be a possible killer. Now, I'm not sure if I have seen the original film, but it seems like it could be a fun little watch, and the concept of a new take on it is one that I don't see as being as a bad thing, because from the footage it does not look too bad. There's some entertaining elements to it all. Plus, I really do enjoy Keke Palmer as an actress, so I'll watch it for her. I mean, she was a strong part of Nope, and she was super great in that film as well. I see it as being a fun little watch when it does come out, and it's not too long away either, as the series will be releasing on the Peacock and I believe on Sky now in the UK and Ireland from the 8th of February. Our last of the film trailers of the week is the focus in the realm of getting an all-star cast, a simply stylish approach, and working for a big score to tackle those that get rich on their own demise in a bit of a modern day Robin Hood setting, as the release of the second and presumed final trailer for the upcoming crime thriller of Crime 101. Now, the film will follow the workings of an elusive thief that's played by Chris Hemsworth, who is eyeing his final score, who soon encounters a delusional insurance broker played by Halle Berry at her own crossroads. As their paths intertwine, the relentless detective played by Mark Ruffalo trails them, hoping to thwart the multi-million-dollar heist that they are planning. If there's anything, I do enjoy the likes of these heist-based films or projects where it comes around with likes of the serious thriller stuff like Sicario, A Hell High Water, The Town Up the Town, or No Country for Old Men, just to name a few. And this has their feel with some well-established big stars in Hemsworth, Berry, and Ruffalo, and from what I've seen, this project looks like it could be one of those sleeper hits, but I'm sure it'll be well worth a watch. It's not a long way as well either before the heist is in motion, as it will take place in just about a month's time in cinemas on February 13th. And with all that regards now, that's all the trailers that we have for this week. Next, on the first of the two stories we'll be giving a focus for this week, second being one base story, is with a week it's not really a huge hodgepodge of stuff, but more to focus mainly in one area, and that's with the idea of some new casting news and announcements for confirmation, in talk discussions, rumors, and sometimes caused a little bit of a drama from casting announcements. Though with one or two little extra bits of non-casting news for film, but more of a studio or release dates. But we can get into all of them. Let's see what it's brought us for this week's media. So let's jump in. So we start off with this one that has seen a bit of confirmed aspects to it all beforehand, and this is to do with the upcoming video game adaptation, and this is what to do with Amazon's new take on a popular series of Tomb Raider. Now, over the last few weeks, we have been given confirmation on a small number of casting, which includes Sophie Turner's Lara Croft, as well as two supporting casts, the former Sigourney Weaver and Jason Isaacs, confirmed last month to be in a project that is being developed by Fleabag creator Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Well, it was expected that it was going to be more part of a series, and this is just early this week that we've gotten a confirmation of more supporting casts from this project, with the two recently confirmed actors and a selection of 9 more joining the cast, which consists of Mara Bob Semple, who you may know from One of Us Is Lying, Jack Ban, who was in Pennyworth, John Heffernan, who was in Dracula from 2020, Bill Patterson, who was also in Fleabag, Patterson Joseph, who was in the Wonka movie, Sasha Lewis, who was in Anna, Juliet Mohamed, who was in Magic Mike The Last Dance, and Celia Ermey, who was in Thursday Murder Club, and August Wittgenstein, who was in Faithless. Now, it's quite an interesting array of characters to be cast in this project, and some that I forgot they were in this. I remember enjoying their performances, and I can see them working as allies, enemies, and other forms for this new series on the globe-trotting treasure hunter. Very interested to see where all this comes from this project, and there is more to be cast to be confirmed or announced, but I guess we'll see. Now, at the moment, we have no idea when the show is releasing or when the cast will be portraying, but I'm sure we'll see it by production start date, which is probably going to be some point this year, and in the case, if I hear anything else or see some new ideas about it, I'll provide that in a later episode, of course. So we move to the next story. It is somewhat of an adaptation, but more from one style to another, as we're talking once again on the ever-growing, changing, shifting world of Disney live-action remakes. The concept is they're still going on, changes by the week, because in one instance that Snow White nearly saw the adaptations being being scrapped, and then changed when Lilo & Stitch made $1 billion, and we had that were more confirmed to have been scrapped, which includes the Aristocats being made by Questlove. Another one that may have been confirmed recently being the live-action take on the Hunchback of Notre Dame that apparently was going to have Josh Gad as Quasimodo or involve some capacity, but it was unclear at that point, and mainly I feel it was shelled as the original is quite dark that it would be a mess to fully plan out. But we're not talking on those, but instead we're talking on the next princess to get the live-action treatment after Moana this year, and that will be the take on Tangled. Now, I've covered in the last few weeks in the likes of the rumored new names for Rapunzel and the possible casting for the villain of Mother Gothel, but nothing was set in stone, and been the whole Final Four thing and the possible frontrunner and all that was nothing confirmed until just this week, where they have officially confirmed the casting on the two main leads of Rapunzel and Flynn, with them being portrayed by actress Tegan Croft, who played Raven in that live-action Titan series, and actor Mila Manheim, who was stuck with Disney and played the character in the Zombies franchise of films. Now, things were all good for a bit of time, but then a lot of complaints started to form mainly around the casting of Flynn Rider, as there's a lot of debate due to the opinions of the actor on his thoughts on an ongoing conflict in this world, and from many have voiced their issues with the casting and want them changed, and Disney didn't learn after Snow White, which also had the same case with Gal Gadot as the evil queen, or say the film be boycotted, which is similar to what's been happening with the upcoming Scream movie next month because of reasons that, if we go back a couple episodes back to in 2023. But whatever will happen is anyone's guess, and we'll have to go with it and see what comes of it. Well, not bad castings in this aspect. That is, however, not the only part of the story, as there is another character that's in focus, and that is of course the villain in Mother Gothel, who initially for a short bit of time was going to be portrayed by Scarlett Johansson, before she dropped out due to her busy schedule with the new Exorcist film and the Batman sequel, and there was talks discussion as to who may portray her now, but that also was brought up and may have been answered, and the choice that many people have wanted for this, as reported they are in talks with Catherine Hahn, who you may know from Agatha All Along, to portray the character as particular, and many has finally cast it. I see this as the best fit for the role. Currently it's not fully confirmed yet, but I will be honestly think they have made an actual solid choice in that casting, as if it's set in stone, but I guess we'll see in due time. Now at the moment this is all early days, and we have no idea as to when this stamps will release, likely be told by D23 this year, but if anything comes better, I'll provide that in a later episode as well. But speaking on the casting of the previous one, we're jumping from live action adaptations to a new adaptations of comic book characters, as we're talking about the Caped Crusader himself of Batman. Now, the project, as I mentioned, has seen Scarlett Johansson jump from Tangled to this project, and we joining Ron Passon as his take on an iconic character, and it's the case that there was some rumblings going around about the possible villains for this project. It seems the casting announcement for this one this week maybe helped set an idea as to who one of them may be, as this was reported earlier this week that Marvel star Sebastian Stan is reported to be in talks for the sequel, and the reported casting going around is that he'll be portraying the character of Harvey Dent, otherwise known as Two-Face. Now this could be just a red herring and could actually be playing a different character, as they may want to bring the characters that never got the chance to be proper villains in the films, like how they did with the Riddler in the first movie. I know he was in Batman Forever, but this is a proper take on him. And with the idea of him portraying either Hush or Mr. Freeze as another option for this role, but in all form I can see his performance as being one that will appeal. Now it's fully set in stone and on a case as to who he's playing, but with the sequel now set to start filming in a few weeks time in the UK, I'm sure we'll get an idea of the role he'll be playing. In case I do hear anything, I'll of course provide that in a later episode as well. Now I did say there was mainly casting, so but here there's a project update and 2 release dates also given this week that I want to add in as well that I actually forgot about. And we all start with a bit of a project update that has made its presence known, and it comes to us still in the realm of the superheroes. And we talk on a project that has had a bit of a rough few years of development hell being made, but it may have just been nailed shut. As reported earlier this week, the planned film for the MCU film on Blade may have been quietly cancelled. The project's had a bit of a difficulty getting off the ground from its announcement in 2019 and the planned few week release dates over the last 3 or 4 years, and changed directors and writers just so could not see them to crack it properly. Maybe the joke from Deadpool and Wolverine may have made it apparent, with the whole thing was he's now saying he's the only Blade. It is however not fully confirmed by Marvel as of yet, but it seems the case that the project could still be alive, or in this case the character will be more of a focus to another project that will be morphed into, which is with a new planned film or series based on the Midnight Suns, which may also help provide more action and may make the rumored new saga after Multiverse being fit in the Supernatural, which is what the next saga could be. That will likely see the return of Sacha Baron Cohen's take on Mephisto and Aubrey Plaza's Lady Death in some form. Maybe even the introduction of the character of Nightmare that was initially set as the villain for Multiverse of Madness by the original director of Scott Derrickson. Now it's a case that I am sure Marvel will make that announcement. That reported story from last week of Jordan Peele working on the project could be this going ahead, but is yet to be seen. But for now, any updates coming about this, I'll provide that in a later episode as well. So if in the case of the release date stuff, that I decided to lump them into one piece stories that don't have too much to discuss on yet with this project, but both are covering a date for one and then a surprise reveal for the other. So we'll start with the surprise one coming to us on Thursday morning, where it was revealed that Johnny Knoxville has said they are currently actually getting a 5th Jackass movie, and also the case it's coming out this year, with the film set for release on June 26th, which is quite a welcome surprise. The films and show were nonsensical and just full of these friends getting themselves injured in the name of comedy and entertainment that they can be quite a bit of fun to watch in general, and I will be giving this a watch when it does release, because to be fair, I did like the previous Jackass movies. I find it funny. As for the other projects is coming to us in the focus of the film that was unveiled last year, given a title about 2 months ago, and then confirmed for this year, but finally this week, we were finally given the official release date for the follow-up to Godzilla -1 with -0, now set for release on November 6th. Now, I will say the last one was proper solid, made them distinct between the monsterverse that had its appeal and charm with the very monster movie Titans, and for this one being more of a grounded story with giant kaiju wreaking havoc and looking visually fantastic, on a very small budget as well, which I feel this one will probably have a slightly bigger budget, but still on the small side of manageable. In all case of things, I'm looking forward to this follow-up as well, and I'm sure I'll make a pilgrimage to check these out in the cinemas, and hopefully see that -0 in IMAX as well. Now, on the last of the stories, the focus of the announcement is back on the casting of people, but not in the form of a new film or show on the way, but rather in the realm of a new change in management. As a few months ago, it was confirmed the head of Lucasfilm of Kathleen Kennedy will be stepping down as the head of the studio by the end of the year, and reports about her replacements have been a bit quiet as of late. Now, this has been changed since this week has been reported or announced that there may be of a dual head role of the company. It's reported that Clone Wars and Mandalorian creative Dave Filoni and creative manager Lywin Brennan may be the new heads of the company. Now, both of them have had their experience of working for the studio as well as some connective groups like Industrial Light and Magic, and it seems like a reasonable fit, though some still are very skeptical and adamant about this choices being made here. It's the case that Filoni has helped create some of the best content for Star Wars with helping develop The Mandalorian with Jon Favreau, and for also making the Clone Wars series a hit that it was. But it does bring some concern for them leaving the studio. It may not be the best choice, and make some messy creative choices overall. But overall, at the moment, it has not been set in stone as of yet, but there's a case if there's some news of confirmation, or if there's a new confirmed head of Lucasfilm that does happen, I'll provide that in a later episode. But what do you think of all this? Do you like the casting additions of Tomb Raider? Do you see the choices for Rapunzel Flynn as good, or who would you choose instead? What about Han as Gothel? Do you see Sebastian Stan working well as Two-Face, or is he playing a different character in this film? Do you see the Blade film being cancelled and reworked, or is it still happening? Will you be checking out that new Jackass and Godzilla films? And do you think those two for the leads of the company are a solid choice for Lucasfilm? Let me know what you think down below in the comments so we can talk about them there. Now, for our second and final story for this week is one in the realm that may not have been originally a product full of tech, but with the new unveiling, maybe changing that and seeing a real concern and some backlash in the process. And it all has to do with the focus of Lego. Now, a lot of us love Lego. I mean, I love it a lot. And I've done a heavy ton about sets that I have in mind to get for more time lapses in the future on these video formats. I will love some sponsorship by the company. But like myself, it has to seem the case of loving the product from years as a youthful person to the present. And it's a case that the little brick pieces have inspired so many creativity and imagination from the creations. And for a while, there was reports that the patent was flying around that it was going to change that. In the case, that is about to happen here and come true overall. Now, during this week with this year's Consumer Electronics Show, the CES, Lego had a bit of a presence at the event where they finally unveiled a product that was known as the Smart Brick, which is a new electronic clear shiny brick that has the ability to provide new sounds and interactivity with items, bills, and even some minifigures that will change a new way to play. And with this announcement also comes the focus that we'll be starting with the range of their biggest licensed range of Star Wars sets with an X-Wing, Vader's TIE Fighter, and the throne room battle from Return of the Jedi, which will likely see the sounds of the ships, characters, and the lightsabers all clashing together. Now, the likes of this does not sound too bad, but it does provide a lot of issues, and since its announcement and even to its patent, it has seen a lot of backlash. It mainly comes down to two aspects of this ordeal, with the first being that it takes away an element of creativity and imagination, as used to be the case with us as kids and still to this day, where we would all make up our own sounds and noises for our characters and build sets, with some now making noises and being more of an upgraded light brick aesthetic. It does bring a lot of question as to losing that creativity and just using the element of the basic cycled audio pieces or sounds after a point. But if it's cases that's more than that, maybe I'm kind of overthinking it, but it seems to be going that direction. The other major aspect to consider will be that this will probably bring an increase to the set prices, as sets that could be seen as priced around 50 or so in price could then increase by a fair bit for their new tech element, with the free sets that were announced costing the lowest at 70 for the TIE Fighter, the next set pricing around 90 to 100 euros of the X-Wing, and the most expensive being 160 for the throne room. Now, these prices can often vary, with TIE Fighters averaging the minifig size around 45 to 75, so it somewhat fits in that pricing. It's usually a lot more pricey if it's like a huge like diorama one, say an example like the giant Optimus Prime, or the giant X-Wing or TIE Fighter, or the Millennium Falcon kind of thing, like that there. The other instance, then the case with the case with the X-Wing can vary. The biggest small one costs more average around the price of an X-Wing, which would be a little more cheaper, with the closest to it being proposed X-Wing from the sequel trilogy costing around 80-85 euros. Average price about 50 to 70 as well for the X-Wings. The throne room is the one with the biggest price difference, as the cost of the diorama version was 100 euros, which adds about another 60 onto that with this one. Though maybe the minifig kind of has the callback to the old set design that released around episode 3, which was like the kind of like stadium fight thing, you do a lightsaber thing. It's an old set, product there. And it brings a concern the amount of these smart bricks per box, if the number of pieces are low in it as well, will increase those prices and make it even more of a difficult hobby to really invest in. Because I think like the two small sets are around less than like 500, 600 pieces, and the diorama room is like less than 1,000 pieces. Like I feel for like that price, it should be more over 1,000 pieces, but I don't know, that kind of case. It's sort of a case already as it is that Lego is sort of a difficult hobby to really invest in because a lot of sets are very expensive as it is. So it will not be a case that it's more manageable and not a mess. Hopefully a case is more manageable. We will not see these into full swing until the beginning of March when these 3 sets release, but I'm sure we'll probably see more sets coming over the years, and like a case we'll have to wonder if like they'll come into contact with that rumored the whole Pokemon range that's coming out this year, but I guess we can see. I'll give a look at one of them if possible and get my thoughts on them in due time and see what else will be part of this in the future, but I guess we'll kind of see. But what do you think of these new smart brick features? Do you think it's a good addition to these sets, and who will cause a major issue over time, or do you think it will cause increases, or do you think it's all a bit overblown? Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and with all that regards, that's all the news stories that we do have for this week as well. And now, with all that regards, that ends episode 138 of Weird Mind Newsroom. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings for probably a case of this right about 30 minutes or so. Now, I'm trying not going to go too long in this conclusion, as it is late as well. I want to go to bed if I can fight for the insomnia. It's been rough. But in regards to things, let's talk about some updates. So I'm going to get back into actually doing the reviews this week. I'm going to just like try and get those snack size box office around time. I'm going to try and like focus. My procrastination, mentally straining, and everything else has just been like, blocking it. But in regards to things, I'll get to the case of things with like the Last of Us review. I'll get some more reviews of other stuff and pieces. Like I kind of want to do a Stranger Things one's review kind of thing, just like the whole season 5 or the whole series in general. Maybe we can build the time-lapse video I have of the Upside Down house, but I'll figure that out. And then other genres and snack size box office and variant links and concepts will become as well, like Sonic, Wicked, Hazbin Hotel, Avatar, Knives Out, all those ones, they're going to come, so look forward to those. In the case of gameplay, so I have finally recorded a new gameplay. I got another part of Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's just me digging around for about an hour, but I finally get to the next subterranean, like just was digging around for a bit. I might go back over time and do some like random extra bits at the end, but it can be that case of things. I will get to some Mario Wonder, get to some Star Wars Outlaws, and get to some Cyberpunk, and I get some other games as well, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Metal Gear Solid, Atomfall, Call of Duty, Alan Wake, all those other games stuff. I might try and do a few Resident Evil games, and I'm going to try and start streaming. Maybe I'll do the Resident Evil games, maybe the ones with Leon in it to Requiem, or even just the recent games as well. So look forward to those. So probably figure something out, maybe in a couple of days before February or something. We'll see. In the case of the long form stuff, I will get to rewatch-a-thons. I will get to AI audience choice videos as well as their creation of Ventilate as well. I will get to likes of Horror Knows Bore. I'll get to the all variation different long form media stuff as well. I'll get to more time lapse builds and all variation features, as well as case I'm getting to the anticipated media for this year as well. Because it is January, I'm going to get to that aspect. Try and have it by the end of the month, but we can see. It's variation to make sure I have everything that I want to focus on for new releases and stuff like that, from like films, shows, and games. Maybe some books, but I can see. But then in that regards of things, I shall leave it there for now. So as always, if you want to hear more from me and more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. There's no uploading stuff every single week, and I probably guess my goal for this year is probably between 750 to 1,000 subs. I'm trying to at kind of an aim true. If we're making good progress, then I'll try and aim for 1,000, but we'll go for 750 for the minute. We'll go for a nice sort of like safety net. And in case instance as well, if you want to get some pure crack with 10% off, you can use my code Sam Harrison, which you can find in the link below, link in the description, and get yourself some nice pure crack to start off the new year. Helps you with energy, helps you sleep, helps all different things. It's some good stuff. And in regards to things as well, that's where I shall leave it. So as always, let me know your thoughts on everything that's discussed this week down below in the comments for all the new releases, the amount of trailers, and the news stories as well. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I shall leave it there for now. As always, you all stay being wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things, and keeping you because no one else could do what you do. And make sure to take care of your mental health and check in on your loved ones, because even if you're like your friends or your family, just make sure they're okay, because you never know what people are going through. But anyways, I just leave it there for now. I've been your host Sam, of course, and I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care. I'll see you later.